If aliens were to visit the Earth today, they would probably think that we humans have gone completely insane. We can't seem to work together towards anything. Call it a disease that is now killing between 10 and 12,000 people per day worldwide, to simply trying to figure out how everybody can have their basic needs met. What would these hypothetical aliens do? Sit down and watch the show? Regardless, I can tell you what most humans are willing to do right friggin' now. What a year, and what a way to send it off. I wish I just had this kind of budget for such a fireworks display. Highlighting some of the ever-changing events out there, unfortunately the pandemic numbers are still true. Both nature and mankind are not making better. There's a chance you personally know at least 5 people that have gone through the illness, whether barely or really ill. And there's a chance that you know somebody that has died of it. That personal touch, it's what makes it real. There's simply no other way around it. As the world turns, the pandemic runs its cycle. We mentioned last time that Europe was starting to shut down again. Well, lockdowns are about to get stricter. Just ask Germany how they're planning to spend their Christmas. The UK, last night, is putting London on the most strict level of lockdown.
No socialising indoors with anyone other than the people you live with or those in your support bubble. Bars, pubs and restaurants will have to close, though they can provide takeaways and deliveries. But shops, gyms and hairdressers will be able to stay open.
Fun times, eh? However, the Far East seems to be faring much better compared to this side. Take Wuhan, ground zero in China, for example. It's mostly back to normal after a year after this started, but not after some draconian measures were taken. Vietnam? Well, look at it. Way down the list. Looks like TikTok actually was helpful here. This side of the pond, well, we're still number 1, by far. Politics, unfortunately, are smack in the middle of meaningful action, whether to contain the bug, prevent the bug, or help people affected by the bug. We continue to endure uncertainty, ineptitude, and why not, isolation. Although there is a light at the end of the tunnel, though our dear government was only able to secure 100 million doses for about 350 million people, things definitely don't look any better, or it's foreseen to get any better for the next 4 to 6 months.
Look, here is the deal.
I'm going to skip the politics for this for the most part, but I think that we need to say this. The election is over. Voters and the Electoral College now spoke very clearly, and it's time for the country to move on. The system continues to work. There are some tweaks needed for sure, but quoting AG Barr, seen here after Giuliani tried to blame him for the latest leak of Smelted versus Delted, he said, "There is no evidence of fraud that would alter the election result." With this, and barring a scenario that unfolds into complete civil chaos, we will continue to assume that the White House will undergo a change in management in January 20. And Trump's chances to overturn the elections are
Zero. There's zero.
So
I honestly hope that Zoom is ultimately prepared for the largest online inauguration in history.
period.
Oh boy. Okay, you know what?
Back to the point, and more objectively, what this administration means to us. We know that A, Biden has been busy assembling his team while reassuring us that he's not grouchy at Fauci. B, there is consensus that more measures, including billions of greenbacks, will be taken to help people, while not making it secret that people that earn over $400,000 will be taxed higher to help pay for this. This has generally spooked investors, thinking that these measures that will devalue the dollar, minimize their after-tax returns, trigger untapped inflation, or a combination of all these. And there's merit to these thoughts. One thing is for sure, some investors are starting to deploy their dormant cash to put it to work, particularly strategic assets, which we'll define shortly. Let's do a quick deep dive into the different sectors.
Operator.
Tank, load December 2020. There'll be the teleprompter. And please find Fane's for it, will you? Let's go.
Got it.
Yes.
COVID, 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 COVID.
Is creating and changing behavior in the sector. On the fun side, actually. Wealthy individuals that have the ability to quarantine in style. These buyers are quickly snatching properties in resort areas or less popular resort towns and vacation spots where they can actually work from home and right next to a beach, lake, or a mountain. In fact, there's a 50% increase in traffic directions in Colorado Springs. More closer to home, in a recent poll, we found that about half of Americans want to move. Yes, half. And the pandemic has definitely something to do with it. More space for the office, more or less rooms for the new family, and so forth, or space for that indispensable wine cabinet. With conforming loans set to increase a whopping 7.4% for 2021, today, right now, it's a great opportunity to buy more for less. We talked last time about making strategic land acquisitions, and what we've done this time was got deeper into the weeds about it. So far, we've found these tracts that have been piquing our interest because of their location, potential use, price, and yes, exit strategy. Give us a ring if you want to find out more. Americans are over-retailed. The US has 20 square feet of retail space per person compared to 4 in France and 5 in the UK. Well, now knowing that the UK is going to shut down for the most part and Europe is going to be under lockdown, that number is probably going to be even lower. But one thing's for sure, change is coming, and COVID just accelerated it. What will happen with all the extra space that will be in fact vacant after the dust settled? Our read is that despite the exploding e-commerce trend, there's a sizable chunk of retail that will still be relevant. Necessity-based stores like groceries and pharmacies. But here's the rub. E-commerce will keep growing, meaning that space will be either repurposed or demolished. Underused retail is already turning into health and welfare studios for like yoga, rowing, cycling. Urgent care facilities, last mile fulfillment centers for Amazon, and educational facilities for community colleges. We've been saying this for a long time, but yeah, it's already happening. Can you check to see if somebody's actually paying us royalties for this? Here's my next bold prediction. Underperforming centers will be torn down and turned into something else. It's not that they failed the location test. Far from it, but there's just too much retail. What to put there? My first thought is multifamily or high density units like townhomes. And yes, opportunities are popping up right now. Austin is making headlines in several products here. With both Tesla and Oracle setting up shop here, people will be moving there, except for Larry Ellison, of course. The point is that they need places to live. And Austin is far cheaper than Silicon Valley, but I wonder for how long, which makes the apartment business even more attractive. Cap rates there are already pretty low, and there's obviously others that are looking at the same opportunities as we are. So we hunt for those places where there's a value-added proposition, which will bring more cash flow at the bottom line. So if you're interested in Austin, now's the time. As we wrap this up, yes, we did see all kinds of weird stuff here. Frankly, nobody can argue that we, and I hope you by extension, have learned quite a few things, and we have shared a few with you along the way. There's one thing that I think we can say it's been the most powerful, and that's this one. Let's be clear. The word itself is intended to be with a broad meaning, not intended to be a Barnum statement or anything of that sort. For example, on the economic side, value has become the most dynamic concept as income streams shift. We look at property differently, and there have been a few iterations where we have completely gone to a full valuation by the pound. In this sense of the word, the idea is that we need to adjust our mentality and our definition of value with an open mind. What is the long-term prospect for the asset? What is the short-term gain? And that's, repeat after me, what is the exit strategy? Frankly, it's this definition of value that has helped us land very interesting deals and help clients and friends understand what they have now and in the future. Don't believe me? That's Warren Buffett's own principle for acquisition investors. On a personal level, I've become more aware of certain value items, most notably people and time. People of value, simply put, folks that are worth having around. And value of time, arguably the most important asset. You can't get time back. An example here, there's an opportunity cost of you watching this video. Time that you could be using to be drinking your beverage of choice, which if you were good at following my advice, you'll be doing right now. Anyway, I think you get the point. One thing that has been of particular attention is the value of personal growth. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we've learned something new this time. How to fix a faucet, when to stop fixing your car, the right way to cut the grass, or how to waste a scammer's time to the point that he asks you to stop scamming them. And if you haven't learned anything, well, I don't think I believe you. If my boys have mastered the art of making breakfast or see the bright side of leaving their laundry in different spots, well, you definitely must have learned something. Having fun is definitely part of the show, and that requires time off the screen. Yep, this one. Yes, we recognize that the internet and smart devices have made us somewhat dumb, and at the end of the day, it's our true friends and family, the ones that need us the most, to break the isolation cycle we were talking about before. With this thought, I will leave you to turn this thing off. Quit YouTube. Call a friend or a family member and call them. Maybe FaceTime them. Or go see them in person, or just tap them off the phone. Make them smile. Make their day. Yep. Really. This is our show. We hope that you've enjoyed this journey with us. On behalf of our family and the rest of the team, we wish you the very best for the remainder of the year and a better, much better 2021. Since we don't have the budget to go out in John Oliver style, I'll just toss my phone out the window. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. We'll see you soon.